Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankers Creations, and thank you very much for joining me today on what is an incredibly wet Sunday here in Sydney. We have had a low pressure system sort of just parked off the coast, and it has been raining for the last couple of days, and it's been awful. And it's supposed to rain even more today, and maybe starting to clear up towards the end of tomorrow. Pretty darn horrendous. There is flooding, but not here. Mind you, I do have a little river running in the backyard, but I do whenever it rains. So I'm going to just quickly go and say hello to people. Hello, Jack68K. Hello to Dave. House of Moth J is here. Hello. Kai is here. Hello. I have a question for you, Kai. I don't think you know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Retro Techie, OA, Adam McGee, Jeff Barnard, Ryan Design, Thomas Armstrong, Trina Conrad, Joe, Mike Rojas, Apples Anonymous, Joe Williams, got another Joe. Okay, so, right, and DJ Craze is here, hello there. So let's just have a look and make sure. So, I am going to be working on more of the same stuff. I just did the question mark, clickbait thing because why not? And because the other thing that happens, Mr. Crimstar, hello. Patrick Pitts, hello. One of the things that does often happen when I've got a super sticker. A big bonk. Thank you. We are describing what the super sticker looks like. I'm just going to look at the image. There we go. It's a smiling, looks like a fox, smiling fox. But this says, Shiba dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head. Thank you very much for the super sticker. It's much appreciated. Okay, Rob T, hello. YouTube refused to load the stream until just now, which means you missed me saying hello, Kai. All right, so I have a definite plan for what I want to do, but it's one of these things where I might actually be finished really quickly with it. And if it's really quick, then I'll move on to something else. So that's why I didn't say specifically, hey, I'm working on this, because I could be working on different things. Just a little reminder to all to please
smash that like button.
Just because. Thank you very much. Creepy smile on that Shiba. Michael Mullet is here. Okay, so very, very quick question for you, Kai, while I have you here, before you fall asleep, which I know is bound to happen because I know it's very, very late there on a Saturday evening, possibly even Sunday morning. I have a Macintosh Classic here. Works beautifully, unless I leave it. And if it is off for all night, basically. If I leave it off for a few hours, 3-4 hours, it's fine. But if it's off all night, when I switch it on, it's under voltage and checkerboard. And I measure the voltage, it's about 4.5 volts. And then just over the next 10 to 20 seconds, it just gradually rises and rises and rises until it gets to about 4.8 or something. And then the computer starts up. And then it comes up to 5 and it just stabilizes at 5 and stays at 5. Now, of course, that sort of behavior really sounds like capacitors. Capacitor getting charged up, and then after that really long period of time getting completely discharged. But of course, it's had all of the capacitors replaced with one exception, and that is that great big one. This guy here. But having said that, I have tested it, and its ESR is good, and its capacitance is good, and I'm sort of thinking, I mean, I'll replace it if needed, but it is... they're $10 a pop. So yeah. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? That is it a European or was it African or European swallow? So anyhow, I just thought I'd mention it. If you might say just, oh, that sounds like the, but it's definitely analog board related, not logic board related, and it's just, being redundant kind of means I don't have to care when I wake up. Good on you. I mean, I'm very sorry about you being made redundant, but I'm glad you're living it up. So I'll have a look at the schematics. Thank you. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, have I mentioned Kai Wheat's? Kai Wheat's KM601 budget smart multimeter. Fully featured, very inexpensive. Let's have a look at this here for a second. Top view. all of my cameras are all fogged up because of the because it's so cold and wet here at the moment. Let me just see if I can hit this with some hot air. Might be able to get rid of some of that. I can see it. I can actually see the condensation on the bloody thing. Come on. Need a hairdryer. Come on. Okay, so anyhow, this is my Kaiwitz KM601 multimeter. I am just going to try and get this lens so it doesn't have moisture all over it. Essentially what has happened is it's just very, very wet here. It's very, very humid. It's cold as well because it is winter, and the temperature has dropped during the night, and it has caused condensation on this camera lens. It does happen to this one sometimes too, but that one's not too bad. But this one here, I think it's starting to get better. Very annoying. Sorry about this, folks. This is not what I planned. I should have really checked it. Actually, I did check this beforehand. This camera was fine. I think it's actually happened since I switched it on, because it does have a lens cover when it's off. There we go. Looking a lot better now. Okie dokie. Whee! All right, so I just wanted to mention what I have done with this particular Kaiwitz KM601 multimeter. Links in the description if you'd like to buy one. I have 3D printed, designed and 3D printed, a wee stand. Look at that. And it's designed with this little thing here, which holds in the leads. And of course it gives something to rest on, so that the leads can sort of swizzle around a little bit, and gives you that stand there. So I will be making that available for people to download and print. It's a little bit tricky because it has to print that way, and it's got this lean here. I went and did something clever with getting that printed out. It's a good 5-hour print this, but anyhow, I'm using just a 3D printed hinge in here, you know, sort of axle sort of thing. But you could use a piece of metal if you wanted. So yeah. Let's have a look. See, Sorcerer Stan, hello there. If you're not using Kaiwitz, you're using crap. Yeah, that's what I always say. So anyhow, been very happy with the old Kaiwitz, but anyhow, I'm going to switch him off now. We'll come back to him a little bit later. This is also what I wanted to show you. This is something which arrived from Amazon just the other day. I haven't put links in the description yet because, well, to be honest, I'm still trying it out. Now, what this is an LCR meter. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know what an LCR meter is, but it is basically a device for testing inductors and for testing capacitors in circuit. And it does it by sending like frequency down there. And it's quite remarkable. I've been very happy with it so far. Let's see if we can do a test. I'm going to grab this one here. And what have we got here? We've got a capacitor which is 1000 microfarads, 16 volts. Now I've got this set on 1 kilohertz frequency. Let's see, which one was I going to check? This one? Yep, 1016 volts. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pop that there and give it a bit of this. And, oh, hang on. I've got to, let me just change it. There. And let's put this on to, how about we put it on to 100 kilohertz. I pretend to know what I'm doing with this thing, but I really don't. I am still learning in a big, big way. Come on. So that's telling me definitely not the right reading. Well, I hope it's not the right reading. It's funny, I mean, when I've been using this, sometimes it just gives me a perfect reading straight up, and then other times it doesn't. So I've got to figure out what I'm doing wrong, why I'm sometimes getting good readings and sometimes getting bad readings. I definitely blame me as a user. You can't see it. It's having a good old think about something. It's definitely struggling. Well, anyhow, it has worked for me. I was choosing not to today, but anyhow, it has worked for me. But anyhow, that's there. I am planning to use this to try and diagnose a problem with an iMac that I have, which I'm pretty sure has some bad caps, but I just don't know which ones. Okay, I have an idea. Can you test the voltage coming out of IP2 and IP4? One is the LM317 adjustable voltage regulator, and the other is 78212. The 317 might be failing. Okay. Now, the problem I have with this is that the window of opportunity I have to test these things is about 20 seconds every 8 hours, thereabouts. So that's the challenge. Dear, sorry, just reading about the beeping multimeter. We probably won't see Mac84 in the chat. I think he is. He's socializing. Well, he's doing something tonight. I think he's. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll check that out. So I'll tell you what has been done so far. It has. This isn't the board, by the way. The board is here somewhere, but this isn't it. So it's had everything recapped, every capacitor recapped except for this guy. It has had a very thorough clean because it was really messy like this one. And it has had QP1 replaced, which is, I think that's the octo coupler. And as I say, it works beautifully almost all the time. It is just that moment when it is frozen cold. Luke F, hello. Thank you for your views. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much for that. Abeleski, hello. They definitely are not sure thing for testing in circuit. I've had, as I say, I've had some success, but you know, a lot of other folks in Joe's streams. Joe's streaming at the moment, is he? Yeah, that's it. I assume we're talking about Joe. Joe's Computer Museum. We've got we have really limited. What do you call it? Sort of like there's a finite amount of hours, time, whatever to live stream. I basically have to live stream. My only choice really is to live stream either today or yesterday around about this time. So yeah, I try not to stream at the same time as other people, but as I say, that's my only time that I can stream. So that's just how it has to work. Don't like streaming over top of other people, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Okay, so anyhow, let's get on to actually what we're here for, and I'm going to work on something. Now, this is a board that was sent to me by a customer, and the description that I got, I'm sure people will be able to tell straight away what sort of board it is. Very distinctive. It's a 68030. It's one of these slide-in sockety ones, and it has an empty socket for an FPU just there. How about that? I'm going to, so the caps have been removed on this one, so that saves me some hassle. This is what he has said about it. Machine was working, except for screen instability, crackling sound, vertical lines moving quickly with the crackle. Have recapped the analog board. The machine now goes to standby, but doesn't boot with battery in, and keyboard power button pressed. Okay, check for crappy traces and fix up. I saw exposed traces around C3 and C9. C9. And C3. So we'll have a look at that under the microscope. But yes, we're going to have to clean it up, have a bit of an inspection, and then we'll see if it works. I think this one's just going to work, to be honest. I suspect this will be a quick, easy one. He sent me the analog board as well, but I won't be looking at that today. Yes, it is indeed a Color Classic, and it is, yeah. I think, as I say, I think he sent me both logic board and analog board. I'm pretty sure anyway, we'll see. So let's just get this under the microscope and we will see what we will see. Let's go. There we go. How are we looking here focus-wise? Need a little bit. There, look at that. Sharp as. Right. Okay, so as I say, he has removed the cap, so we've got a little bit of dirty trace activity going on here. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah, a bit of dirty trace there as well. Dirty. So I'll have to clean that up a bit. All in all, not too bad though. What about down here? Oh, yeah. It's got some, definitely got some dark looking traces there. So we're going to have to clean this up. Charlie's here. Hello there. Okay. Right. Let us begin. So the first thing we're going to want to do is just get rid of this black stuff and expose nice fresh copper. Copper. These pads themselves look really clean. I'm not going to need to do anything for there. We're going to have to clean this up. Am I going to need a new scalpel? Yes. That one is a shocker. Should not be low ASR caps. Any capacitor IP2 L317 like so. Well, see, that's terrible. See, I just buy low SER or low ESR caps for all the time because it's just a lot of the time that's what's needed. But you're telling me now that I shouldn't have low ESR caps? Oh my goodness! Any capacitor in the IP2? Works with a DGOS wire unplug. Huh. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to try all these. One of the great things about the software that I use for streaming is that all of the chat gets saved as a text file. So I can actually go in and read all that later on. Now this is a sound chip here, folks. Common point of failure on these boards, and that's mainly because of capacitor leakage. Cleaning up. Now if this one ends up just like working after I put new caps on it, it'll be a bit quick. I've got a little Macintosh LC here that I might have a look at next. Thankfully, I already have an LC, but this is another one that I've got. And thankfully, this one is one of the earlier ones that has the covered slot on the left-hand side, so that you could actually make the LC a dual floppy machine. The later versions of the LC just came with the case with that second floppy covered up. But this is one where it does actually have the option to take that cover out, and I could theoretically stick 2 floppies in it, which I'd kind of like to do. I can stick a blue SCSI in there as well because they're small enough to tuck in somewhere else inside. So I could still give it a hard drive. I don't need that bay to put a hard drive in, but it just gives me that opportunity to have one that looks a bit different. Okay. Nice. Now, I should also just make a quick mention here. I'm going to be doing a video in the not too distant future, hopefully. I need to get it done. But I received this the other day. This is from our good friends at Amtech. And this is the finished product. This is NC559V3TF. No, it is not Sample 88. It is the real deal. This is the one with the reach compliance. It has UV tracer in it, so if we turn on a UV light here, you'll see it glowing in the UV light. It's kind of hard to see, but the easiest way to see it is if I hold it here like this, like that, and then I switch the UV light off, you'll see it dims. Boom, like that. So yeah, and we'll try it today, I think, to see what it's like. This is the one where I told them I would like them to tone down the scent a little bit, and they were very receptive and said, okay, we will tone down the scent a little bit. And they did. Okay. 820039-5A. Oh, I don't think I've got that one. I don't think it may be. The one I'm using is, again, it's not this board, but it's the same as this one. 820039-5. I can't read that. It's been ultrasonicked away. The one that I have is obviously the 240 volt one. Okay, just going to put some flux. I put a fairly large amount of flux on there. I didn't mean to, but that's just what happened. Small traces of uranium. What are we looking at here? Scope view, yeah, we go. All right, time to get the actual soldering iron out. People will be wondering when that was going to happen. Well, it's happened. I've finally replaced my spool of solder. I now have a new 1 pound roll. I ran out the other day while I was doing some repair work. Oop, no fume extractor. No fume extractor. Have to remedy that. Ooh, it's sweet. It's sweet. It's a nice smell though. It's quite pleasant. There's a constant banging noise going on at the moment because it's very windy outside, and someone, I'm not sure if it's me or someone else, someone has a gate which is not properly closed, and so it just, wind keeps opening it and closing it and opening and closing it. I think it might be the neighbours. My neighbours go for very long stints of not being here. I'm not sure what they're actually up to, but... Right, so there was that. We want to do a little bit of cleanup around here as well. Oops. There we go. We've got some blackening going on here. Enzo is here. Hello there. But there's no LM2, but the LM3 and the cap references are the same. Really should. The board is actually in that computer. I could whip it out. You might even have a look at it after I've done this Classic. Good old Color Classic. That's a computer I've talked about a lot before. It's one of the more common recapping jobs that I get. Very popular computer. Not at the time of sale. It was a very unpopular computer. They didn't sell many, certainly not. I think they sold a fair few in Japan, but not in like the US or Australia or anything like that. One of the reasons was it was very, very expensive and it didn't do much. A lot of people considered it underpowered. The screen, you know, this is a time when people are, you know, designers are using these computers, and well, the screen's way too small to design with. But it was too expensive to be like I don't know, like a kid's computer. But that's really what it was. They were bloody expensive out here, I can tell you. I used to see them in the shops and think, oh, I'd love one of them. As one of the reasons why, when I got into vintage computer collecting, Color Classic was one of the first ones I wanted to get hold of. That's a nice fresh scent. Look at hello. A Color Classic board like this, one that was not powering on, I replaced the caps as someone had done a dodgy caps replacement on it, then powered it on to a grey screen with no mouse. Yeah, so that's telling you it's getting part of the way through the startup process, but not all the way. And it rules out a few things. I mean, it generally rules out the the egret chip, because the egret chip, when that's bad, typically you can't, the power button won't work. You could find that problem is related to the sound chip. I'm pretty sure I've seen that symptom with a bad sound chip. Yeah, and there are lots and lots of possibilities. There are also issues often around here. There are times where, like these little, this is where this Y1 oscillator is. There are times when you lose connection between this side and the other side of the board, this location here. This one looks okay, but I will check it. Got a bit of a blackening going on here. One of the annoying things about the old Color Classic board is the fact that it has UV mask in all the holes. That's not thin enough. You're not thin enough. You'll never get onto the cover of this magazine. What about that? Looks pretty thin. Okay. Frustration repair job. Yeah, I've always got one of them. Stupid things. I'm going to need my goggles on for this because my eyes are getting old. Oh, okay, that could be you. Those two. What? Maybe. And there's one across to the left. That's it there. Okay, so it's that one. In theory, it's this one. Right there. So what I'm going to do is there's a little probey testy point there. Get the old Kai Wheats out. The Kai Wheats KM601 smart multimeter. Smarter than I am. We'll put it on the beepity beep mode. And then we will just test from this location to this location. Good. We're going through. So as I say, that's one of the weak points on it. It's just a good idea to check it. In all honesty, I do think this one is just going to fire up when I put new caps on it. And then Robinson to Wheats. Yes, I think you should. I definitely think you could be up for some serious sponsorship dollars if you did that, Kai. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, where are we? Where are we? Here we go. I don't think I streamed last weekend. It's a shame. I was very, very busy. I was hoping to, but just the time ran away. That's why it was very important that I get a stream in this weekend. Because if you stay quiet too long, YouTube just goes and forgets who you are. Hang on, what do we got here? Demonstration repair job right now is a recap 2CI where the soft power off doesn't work. It goes to the restart shutdown screen instead. I've been over the circuit twice with my multimeter. Okay. And that's basically what happens when I have a 2CI that I power up with a an always on power supply, so as soon as I plug it in, it switches on, rather than pressing the soft power button. When you go to shut it down, that's what happens. It comes up with the shutdown, so it's not successfully telling it to shut down. At least it's working though. Love the 2CI, one of my faves. And really one of Apple's faves too, when you consider how long it was available for sale. Just going to clean these up a little bit, make sure they've got some fresh solder on them. Just going to make that process of recapping that a little bit easier. We've got to get some UV mask on some of these as well. In particular, something like this would be very easy for a little bit of solder to just sit on these traces here and cause us a wee short or a long. Oh, there's another blackened trace. Oh, Steve is here. I didn't think Steve would make it. I'm free for a min. No worries. We know you have obligations tonight. So I appreciate you stopping by to say hello. As long as you don't duck off and watch that stream from that troublemaker Joe, who just keeps streaming when I'm streaming. Do, 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 do. Flux is your friend. Power switch tests okay, though I could swap it to, or you could just take it off. But I don't think it would be the power switch, to be honest. Fine to be totally honest with you. Okay. I think we're all cleaned up, ready for new caps. So we're just going to get some ISO alcohol on here. Just clean some of the flux off in some of those areas where I need to stick some UV mask down. So I'm going to want some UV mask here. Oh God, that freaking gate. I can only assume my neighbour is not here at the moment, because if they were here, they would do something about that gate. Assuming, of course, it is them. If it's not them, then I have to take all my harsh words back. Do. Okay, is that clean enough? I think so. I think so. Time for my paintbrush, my UV mask. Time for me to get my fingers green. And let's get also need a laser. I had to paint so much mask onto a classic analog board I was working on. Just all the mask had come off. Oops. We are starting to get close towards the end of our bathroom renovation, which I have to say I'm very, very pleased about, because I am getting sick and tired of showering outside. I mean, you know, covered, but still outside. But we have got the wall tiles going in tomorrow. part of me is saying yippee, and part of me is saying, because I have to be up at 5:30 tomorrow. So Tyler turns up at about 7. Comes as a bit of a shock to the system. The floor got screeded on Friday, so it's a nice smooth floor now. Screed! Excuse me. I just went all, what's his name? Canadian computer collector. Jay from the House of Moth, are you still here? Piffle. Piffle. Okay. Just have to do a quick repair to my laser. Jay from the house better be here. Jay from the House of Moth, because he has been badgering me to live stream for ages. And if he isn't present watching, then I shall not be listening to that badgering ever again. Ever. He'll say, who's streaming? And I'll be like, Jay, you don't even bother turning up. So, you know, why would I stream? Okie dokie. So basically I've done a modification to this laser, Pew, so that I can run it off a power supply rather than on a, run it off batteries. And one of the wires just came undone. Okay. I had a very interesting Macintosh Classic recently, doing some very, very weird things, and it turned out it was, what was it doing? It was, it had a fried CPU. I replaced the CPU and that fixed it. It was, what was it doing? It was making funny noises or something. So just using my UV laser here to cure my UV mask. Haha, so Jade turns up eventually. All this badgering. You know, who's streaming tonight? Who's streaming tonight? I stream, and then he's not even here. Then eventually turns up. We're actually repairing a Macintosh Color Classic today, by the way, Jay, and I'm using this laser beam. This is the one which I believe you are buying, Laser 301. Top view. Is this the one that you're buying? It's obviously it's longer because it has the battery section on it. I've removed the battery section and just got this wired up to my power supply. And it has this little focusy thing at the front so you can actually make it so that it burns holes and things if you want. Laser 301. So anyhow, this is the one. Jay not home till 9ish. Huh. 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 How was the concert, Jay? Good? But some fancy rock music. That new rock and roll, that newfangled rock and roll music that all the young people are listening to today. These three caps are 47 microfarad, 16 volts that are going to go there. Worst music I've heard in my life, but gives the wife and kid a few hours to socialise. That's nice. Well, this appears to be curing. Once it cures, it sort of stops being that real glossy look and starts going to a sort of more of a matte finish. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's got to be. Has to be. Okay, so then, well, now. My Macintosh Classic analog board's been playing up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see whether we can test this. Hoping we will. Un, dos, tres. Two hours, 40 minutes of Tom Hanks with a bad accent. Elvis. Oh, okay. I've heard it has its moments. I've started watching Stranger Things, the latest series of Stranger Things. I'm only a couple of episodes into it, so no spoilers, please. Hoping the pace will pick up a little soon. My wife keeps falling asleep during it. It gets epic. Oh, that's what I like to hear. Needed to, because Series 3 was a little bit not good, in my opinion. And I'm also watching The Boys, I think season 3, at the same time. I mean, not literally at the same time, but we are watching two series at the moment. And I love The Boys. That is just such a good show. It's the level of satire in it is just brilliant. It's a really scathing look at society in general. And I just love it. A couple of Kiwis playing two key roles in that. In The Boys, that is. You've got Billy Butcher, who's played by... God, what's his name? Can't remember his name. It's gone. I haven't been sleeping enough lately, so my recall is terrible. And I think it's Anthony Starr, something like that. He plays the part of Homelander. He's another Kiwi. Carl Urban, that's the name of the person I couldn't think of. Yeah, he's so good. He is really good. All of these people that used to be in Xena. One of the best acting schools ever. Old Xena the Warrior Princess. And Hercules, for that matter. It's the same as out here. We basically refer, there's one sort of major acting school out here, NIDA, I think they're called NIDA, something like that, and then they refer to the second acting school, which is Home and Away. It's a soap opera out here, and so many people who are, you know, now like super famous got their break in the soap opera Home and Away. People like Chris Hemsworth. There we go. Now this little guy here, I can't remember what size he is. I'm gonna have to look him up. I wonder where I could find a guide. I wonder if there's a place I could find a guide for recapping this. It might actually just have all the capacitor sizes sort of printed out just for me to look up. I just wonder if there's anywhere I could do that. Neighbours 2, yes, that's right. What's her name? The good-looking female. Margot Robbie. She's an ex-Neighbours person. Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan, yeah. Yeah, well, it's funny actually. Even I haven't watched Neighbours in years, and in actual fact, the series is now over. But I used to watch it back in the Scott and Charlene days. Guy Pearce, he's another one through Neighbours. You guys probably know Guy Pearce from films like Memento, where he is actor from that. He's been in lots of things. Interestingly enough, Eric Bana, who another famous Australian actor, he actually he came up in comedy, not in serious acting. So he was on a comedy show that we used to have out here, just skit comedy, you know, and then he managed to land a serious role in a film called Chopper, which I'm sure Kai knows about. I think I've even talked to him about it before. Based on the life of Mark Chopper Reed, Uncle Chop Chop, and he was really good in it. And then, of course, he landed the role in that rather disappointing Hulk movie. I'm not sure we can really blame him for it being disappointing, but it was disappointing. Oh, look at that. Sean is here. Hello, Sean from Action Retro. Now, Sean, I have to apologise because I was watching it really late and I did fall asleep partway through it. It's not your fault. I really was tired. But in your floppy drive RAID video, I just started drifting off, and then I woke up and then I could see you had like only half the amount of drives connected. Am I correct in saying that even though you started with like 30 something drives, not many of them worked, and so your RAID actually only had like a dozen drives or something? Is that correct? I need to go back and watch it again, but I haven't had a spare minute. I love the concept. I love the concept of turning floppy drives into a RAID. George Kavari, hello there. Only 13 would RAID together. And now, was that some sort of limitation with RAIDing, or was it or was it just the drives were stuffed? Going to try again on Linux. Ooh. Eric Banner loved his Ford Falcon too. Yes, he did. Yes, he did indeed. He's a real car nut. He used to do this character in the skit comedy who was kind of like this weird, nerdy guy, and just used to crack me up. I would like to buy some talcum powder. We are just curing some UV mask here. It's all dull. I think whoever made Mac OS X just didn't put a lot of thought into floppy drive rates for some reason. Well, I mean, you know, it's actually, it's not as silly as anyone might think, because you improve the speed and whatnot. Yeah. All right, look, I need a guide here, because I think this is, I'm pretty sure, I think maybe it's 1 microfarad 50 volt, but it might be something else. It's raining now. My poor chickens, they don't like it. What do we got here? Color Classic. Classic. No, it's a 10 microfarad 16 volt, so I was completely wrong. But that's allowed. I'm allowed to be wrong whenever I want. It's in the Constitution. Yeah, it's we had a very, very dry June, which was nice, given how wet it had been, and it was just nice to have, just to have things dry up a little bit. But of course, it's come back, and it's come back with a vengeance. And of course, there are lots of people whose homes are now flooded. I feel sorry for them. There's quite a bit of flooding today. I was just watching the news this morning, and they were visiting certain areas where, homes are underwater. Because the worst part is when they say, oh yeah, there's been this terrible flooding. Oh, and by the way, we haven't had the worst of it yet. Because I'm heading out later today as well. What sort of madman am I? Now, I vaguely remember that we've got a couple of, 6.300 microfarads. That's these chappies here. I keep two different sizes of these, two different package sizes. I keep these large ones like Voss, which are, I can't remember what they call the size. It's in the product name, but I can't remember. They each have a letter, and the letter is an indication of the size. I keep this size here for these replacements, but I keep a slightly smaller size for when I'm working on the CD-ROM drives, the CD300, because there's a spot where they're really, really close together. And so I just use a smaller package. It just makes it a little bit easier for putting them in. It is rather frustrating how many things need to be recapped these days. I'm actually planning on recapping my iMac, G5 iMac. That's the white one. It was the first of the white iMacs. When I say, sorry, I shouldn't say white LCD iMacs. And actually the G4, strictly speaking, was white, wasn't it? Okay, the flat ones. There we go. The first of the flat ones. And they were made during the time of the Great Capacitor Plague. And so they have leaky caps, and I have one, and it has the most unbelievably leaky caps. And I would love to replace them and get that thing working. It will cost more to recap it than the thing's worth, but still want to do it. Going to the footy to watch some AFL. Yes, I'm not really much of an AFL person, and you know why? Because I'm in Sydney. That's very much a Victoria SA thing, the AFL. I know that we have two teams in it here in New South Wales, but yeah, it ain't for me. But still, going out and watching some ball sports, a bit of fun. Right, 2 more caps to go down. What are we doing here? No, don't need any UV mask here. These all look fine. Yes, I had this idea to make a video on the G5, and because I've got 2 of them, and they both need recapping, and I have this idea of making a video to say, can I make my money back on this G5? So essentially, I've got the computer for nothing. Then I've got to go and buy, I don't know, 40 caps for it or something like that. So I'll take the costs of the caps and then maybe just put I probably won't even bother to put a price on my labour. I'll just say that, this is the costs of the caps, and then I'll do the recapping and then put it up on eBay and see how much I can get for it. And I suspect that I would not be able to sell it for more than the cost of the caps. I could be wrong. Weird things happen sometimes with vintage computers. Especially if I say it's been recapped by branches. I need to get some stickers made up to stick on boards to say, recapped. More of a practical thing than anything, because sometimes if a board comes back to me or something like that, it's like, oh, I'll recap this one. iMac G4, the PSUs are just crap on that. Yep, I've got 2 of those. One of them has a slightly iffy cable, I think, to the display, so that works most of the time. And then the other one I've got works beautifully. Well, it did when I put it into storage. Who knows what it's like now. This is one of the problems with vintage computers. I pulled out a G4 laptop, one of the white G4 laptops, the other day, and it doesn't work. But I think pretty sure it didn't work when I put it away. So, all right. So now we've got this Color Classic here. Now I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we need. Does this have VRAM? Yeah, it does. We've got some VRAM. So let's just change here to the top view. Here it is with the new caps on it. Cleaned up a few traces, but nothing particularly difficult there. This is, pretty easy work. You've got some RAM here, and then I'm pretty sure those 2 are some VRAM. I think they look like, because they've got a speed on them, -8, meaning 80 nanoseconds. So there's some sort of RAM. So yes, I think that's the VRAM. That's the RAM. So we can run this without any extra in here. You can take this up to a theoretical maximum of 10 megabytes, I think. That's what my brain says. And you can stick up to a 512 kilobyte VRAM sim in there. And of course, you can stick an FPU in. So if you do that, you will have your Classic running at peak. I don't know, can you overclock these? Probably, maybe. I think you can. I don't know. But these are a 16 megahertz CPU, which is pretty underpowered if you ask me. All right, now we need a few things in order to start this up. We need a chassis, which I have just here. Here's one I prepared earlier, and it's really dirty, and I need to give it a clean. Okay, now, what if I change my view to this side view? How's that look? Oh, that's not too bad. That was another camera that was all fogged up before because of the cold weather. So I've got here a Color Classic chassis, and the analog board, I think from memory, is a little bit iffy. I might take that out. Gosh, little piece of metal inside there. That's not good. Create a nice little accidental short there. Just a second. Going to make a horrible noise here for a bit. Sorry about that, my friends. Sorry, friends. LC2 with a screen. Yes, it is. The Color Classic 2 is an LC3 with a screen. LC550 is the Color Classic 2 with a better case and screen, identical logic board. Yeah. First Mac I ever recapped. How about that? Hello, Dana, by the way. Thank you for joining. Is footy also known as soccer? In Australia, it depends where you are. If you are here in New South Wales, generally footy means rugby league. If you're in Victoria, footy generally means AFL. And yeah, that's generally it. If someone says football, we're probably more likely to think they're talking about soccer. Right, okay, so we're going to need power. Take that as red. And then going to need a keyboard. Got one of those here. By the way, Kai, if you're ever feeling like you're wanting to do something interesting and creative, just invent something, I would absolutely love a device that was just a power button connected to an ADB cable that I could just plug into the back of a computer and press one single button to be the same as if I was pressing the power button on a keyboard. So if ever you're sort of thinking, yeah, I got some spare time, I want to go create something, that's something I would really love. All right. Yeah. I tried to do it once, but it didn't work. So I went, okay, that's not for me then. I need a smarter person than me to do that. All right, so let's go see if this thing's going to work. Generally, when you switch these on, if all goes well, obviously the green light will come up at the front. And if the sound is working, you'll usually just get a pop. You get a little popping sound followed by the chime. If you don't get that popping sound, you're not going to get the chime either. So I can whip that up. Oh, excellent. I like to hear that. Elemento, hello. Welcome to the stream. Up to 36 megabyte RAM, 32-bit bus, and fast roll around. Yes, indeed. Color Classic 2 never sold here, ever. But we do have a few 550s floating around. I might even have one here at the moment, I think, actually. Just the board, anyway. Okay, so we're really going to test this out. I'm about to press the power button. We'll see what happens. Dead as a donger. Dead, 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 dead. Okay. Now, first thing I'm going to do is stick a known good board in here to make sure this analog board is still okay. I did test the other day, but one of the things that the old Color Classic often needs is, what's that one? That looks like a Color Classic, doesn't it? Yep. I don't know if this one works, but it might. Let's check. Often what it needs, sorry, I'm just getting distracted here, is a good clean after capacitor damage. That is often needed, so we might give this a little bit of clean. Okay, got that. Let's try this board now. Well, this one's dead too, but having said that, this board might be dead. Because I've got no idea what the state of this board is, but it's a customer's board, and it'll be in the system. Let's see if we can find, what's this one? No, that's an LC3. Oh, here we go. Here's some boards. This one I'm pretty sure does work. I've just got this feeling it looks familiar to me. Better not get these mixed up. All right, that's plugged in. Nothing happening with that one either. I'm starting to detect a bit of a thread going on here. that we may have greater problems here. Or there's also the possibility that every Color Classic board I have here doesn't work at the moment. Yeah, see, that's what I thought I did. Maybe I did something wrong. That's what I thought I did. But it didn't work. Tangle, footy, tangle foot. Now, I've now tried 4 separate Classic boards and I'm not getting anything, which is starting to make me think that there is actually, there is a problem with this analog board. I am beginning to suspect that. The first thing I will do is, actually no, it did go buzz, it went boom when I first plugged it in. Let me just see if I can find a board that I absolutely know works. I'll have like Brancus written on it or something like that. Oh, there we go. That's a 475 board, and that is a Color Classic board, and it has Brancus written on it. And when it has Brancus written on it, it means it works. And I tell you what, if this is the case, that means I've got 4 not working Classic boards flying around. Which, you know, just fills me with so much joy. And of course, if this doesn't work, then it's kind of a good thing, I suppose. Right, connect up the power again. So I definitely heard the degaussing sound when I powered on the analog board. So I know that there is power getting through the thing. Okay, right, so it's definitely a problem with the analog board. 4 strings this weekend. I have to think about, I've just got to think about things here. I've got to think about where the fault is. Just going to try a different keyboard. Nope, different keyboard, nope. I think this analog board is pretty beat up. I mean, it fills me with hope that a lot of these boards are good. I just got to think about what I'm going to do now, because this is the only one I have to test with. So I guess we can. Oh god, it's got a cable tie in here. How do you get in there? I do have another analog board floating around. I guess I could test with that. We'll whip this analog board out. So first thing we're going to do is do a little bit of grounding. Crackle, crackle, crackle. These do discharge themselves, but it's still a good idea to do it. Got to undo a few things here. I do have a video on this if there is anyone out there wanting to know how to remove the analog board of a Color Classic. I've got a video and it tells you all the different things you have to unplug, which is what I'm doing at the moment, unplugging lots of things. And I think I've got all of them now. Sound. And then the little chappy just does a bit of a slide like that. Come on. Come on. Thank you. Okay. I've just got to clean this out a little bit. It is really messy. Oh wow. Oh no, that's okay. It was just a trick of the light. Oh Jesus. This board needs a really good clean. It is so messy. I'm putting this in the ultrasonic today. Make no mistake. Just checking to see if anything's wobbling. And just check, we may as well check this fuse while we're here. It'd be a fool not to. Let's see. Oh, Big Bad is here. Hello there. Okay. Ah. That could be the reason. I've got a blown fuse. Come on. And of course, the question you always have to ask yourself is, why did the fuse blow in the first place? And I can think of several reasons with this analog board, but let's just check and be sure. We go testing, testing. Blown fuse, my friends, blown fuse. Now, this will be way too small for my nude eyes to read, so I'm going to get under here, and it is a .15. That's a weird size. 3.15? Does anyone else think that's a weird size, or is it just me? I need to get my fuses. All right. Ooh. I'm not going to stick a 3.15 in it, probably because I don't have one, but I am going to stick like a 3 in there. Just got to find... Yeah, I found all my fuses. What is that? Get out of the way. If you were at the beginning of the live stream, you would have heard me talking all about this fancy stand for Macintosh KM 601. I nearly said 301. I don't know why. This is my 3D printed stand. If you didn't happen to see it at the beginning, if you have one of these, I will be making this design available. A little pop-out stand there like that for standing that up, with a little leggy bit here for holding the leads in and resting upon. So one of the complaints that I've heard people say about the Kaiweets is the fact that it doesn't have a stand. Well, if you've got a 3D printer or a friend with a 3D printer, now you can have one. Okay, so that's 1 amp, 2 amp, Let's see what we've got in here. I'm pretty sure that's 3. I struggle a bit with my eyes. We'll have a look under the microscope and see. F3 amp 250. Okay, we're going to try it with a 3 amp. Let's hope that's enough. And of course, if there is a problem and it just blows straight away, then I know I've got more work to do here. We don't like it when fuses just blow. Damn, this needs a clean. This so needs a clean. I'm actually really looking forward to cleaning it. gonna look so much nicer when it's clean. All right, let's see if we can get this to work. Oops, that's not meant to be there. Thank you. Okay, so we got to connect up the microphone. No, it's not a webcam, it's a microphone. And we got to connect the old anode cap onto here. And this is the, what is that, the yoke connector. And this is the thingy on the back there called the thingy thing. The thing with the thing. That's the D-Gauss cable. Connect up the sound. Down here. And grounding. Where are you? Here you are. Don't ever forget this one. Don't ever forget it. Bad things happen if you forget it. Okay, D-Gauss cable. Channel side, fitted sand, fitted center, ta-da-ta. Okay. Now, is this just going to go pop when we switch it on? I don't like it when they go pop, but it might. Does anyone know where I put that logic board? Anyone watching? What I was just working on? I think this is it here. Yeah, this has still got flux all over it. The odd reason is it's half the standard 6.3 amp used in some electronics. 3 amp is what it needs, but they spec it for more because of inrush current. There you go. A 3 amp fuse would likely blow, but a 3.15 won't. Fabric, and it was 3.15. It's not a suction cap, no. Just a protector. Yokes on you. Here we are. Grounding wires are optional. Jay has a little story to tell about grounding wires. A little story to tell about the importance of grounding wires even when you're in a hurry. Right, okay, so that's plugged in. Now, I'm about to give this some power and it might just immediately pop. Like that. I don't know if you, did you see us? Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see it? Did you see it? Yep, it just blew straight away. I assume you guys all saw the sparky bit because I saw a flicker of spark. Yeah, saw the flash, good. So, well, we won't be doing any testing with this analog board today, but I do have another analog board floating around which I think has a bit of a buzz, but I think it'll still work. Did you see that? You saw that? There was a little video that I did with Jay and Dana was voice only because he was in bed, and we were on Mike from Mike's Mac Shack's channel, and I had about a bottle of wine, I think, I suppose, and there were a few jokes. Yeah, it was a fun time. Well, we thought it was fun anyway. I don't think anyone else did. Oh yeah, so that actually reminds me, happy 4th of July for, what is it? It's tomorrow for us, it'll be the day after for you guys, for America. So happy 4th for those folks. Whoa, wow. Holy cow. The weather's crazy. Okay. So I'm just going to borrow someone else's analog board here for the purposes of this purposing. I better take the bag because the bag has the number on it. Yeah, and of course we should also be wishing Tom Cruise a happy 60th birthday. That's not good. Those fuses to... What do you think the likely culprits are? At this stage, I have no idea. This board worked perfectly. Perfectly. But it has suffered a little bit of neglect, shall we say, and is particularly dirty. And so I am going to give it a clean. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And then we'll see what happens after that. Videos with a bunch of people talking and ignoring the chat are the worst videos. Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna completely disagree with you. There we go. All right. So like I say, this is a board that I recapped, analog board that I recapped for a customer, and it is it works, or did, but it had a buzzing noise from memory, which was something that I have to diagnose. So it's been in the wars. Look at that. Okay, just always like to do a bit of a check and a double check and a triple check, make sure that everything is connected, because you know, God, it is just so freaking windy at the moment. House is going to get blown down. You just know that there are people, you know, like SES, you know, the state emergency service out there having to, you know, patch up holes in houses. I mean, this is just going to cause chaos. They're going to be so busy today. Feel sorry for them. All right, switch him on. Okay, that made the right noise. It was a nice degaussed noise. I don't think we had any poppy fuses. And I am now going to plug this in and we're going to try this again. It's been a very slow testing process, but this happens sometimes. Okay, so let's just change over here to the side view and we'll just see what happens when I press the power button. Nothing for this one. But what we will do is we'll grab my Brancus one that I know works. There we go, Brancus. And we'll try this one. Yes, the Classic Reloaded board. There's actually two of them here. There's one that I raided the other day for the CPU. So this is the one that I built the second time. So this is the second revision of the board, the one that had a little bit of funkiness going on around here, where I had to do a little bit of mucking around there. So there's this one, and as I raided this one never got fully built, but I raided the CPU for that Classic that I was working on the other day. And then over here, this is the original. This is the original from the video, with all the little trace repairs and everything around the back here, all the little borrowed traces here, there and everywhere. So there it is, the famous board. Sell it on eBay one day. Okay, switch him on and okay. Well, we got a green light on this one. Yes, this one definitely has a buzz. Not sure where it's coming from. Oh, I didn't plug in the speaker, which is why it didn't chime. Okay, so this is working. Don't worry about the discoloration. There are reasons for that. It's this chassis. Actually, that's not too bad. Discoloration's not bad at all. Okay, but this has got a wicked buzz. Where's it coming from? Is it the flyback? We'll have to get it. I have a stethoscope that allows me to get the end of the stethoscope and move it around, and I can pick up where the sound is coming from. It's a remarkably good piece of equipment to have if you're doing repairs. It sort of seems a bit wacky, but yeah, stethoscope is actually a useful thing to have when you're doing repairs, because sometimes sound is sometimes incredibly important when it comes to diagnosing things. Come on, speaker. There we go. So I will spend a bit of time working out where the noise is coming from this one. Once I know where the noise is coming from, I will then know what I need to do to sort it out. Okay, speaker back in here now. Right. Okay, so this is the board that we've been working on. That in our first test there did nothing. Just check to make sure the analog board was working, and it is. So we could rule that out. We're just going to try it one more time, and then if it doesn't work, we can maybe look into a couple of potential causes of the problem. I was thinking I might get another board worked on today, but I suspect this one will be it. I have to finish within the next hour. Okay. Dead. Dead. Okay, that's fine. It's not unusual. It's not unusual to have a dead color classic. Na. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm going to put him down here. I am looking forward to cleaning this one up. I want to get him all ship shape again. Okay. Right. So, Horst is here. Hello there, Horst. A fuse pot was beautiful. I sent it to you. Oh, thank you. I love it. Let's have a look. Let's have a look in messages. Oh, look at that. Nice still image. Jesus, bright. This went supernova, didn't it? Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm very, whoops. I've just brought that up. Scope view. That was, did you see that video of that wasp's nest on that statue? It was up there in the messages there. How funny was that? I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's doing the rounds at the moment, but there's a wasp nest that built itself in a very interesting location on a statue. Right, okay. Okay, all right, so let's have a look now at this and see if we can figure out what the problem might be. So back to scope view here. just keeping an eye on the chat. Some of the most likely causes when you have one that won't start up is this guy here, your sound chip, if he's dirty or whatever. And I've often had Color Classic logic boards that have not worked, that have been dead. I've popped them in the ultrasonic cleaner and bang, they work. Then this is the other danger zone around here. This is the egret chip. And we'll just have a bit of a close look around this one here. Doesn't look too bad. I've got lots of spares of these if I need. I've got this little guy here. I'm going to just check and make sure that he goes to the other side of the board. And bing, 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 beepity beep. Whoops. Okay. Where are you? Where are you? I feel like that should be it there. But now I'm not sure. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Good, okay. So that's connecting to the other side, so we don't need to worry about that. So it was just this one here that had a little bit of the blackening around it that I cleaned up. That is quite happily going through to the other side of the board. So let's just put a little bit of solder on it, neaten it up. And let's try to get some of this UV mask out of the hole. I just don't like it. Starbuck Tech, hello. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of douse this thing in some isopropyl alcohol and see if I can clean it up. There we go, that'll do us. I don't know why I even bothered doing that, but I did. So, toothbrush, here we are. And we'll get a bit of flux cleaner here, and we'll change views, top view. We'll just try and get this cleaned up. Like, you know, we know it's going to go in the ultrasonic, but we'll just try and get it cleaned up a little bit. You never know, I can do it. So I'll tell you a film I did watch the other day. Well, I shouldn't say I watched it because I sort of fell asleep and I need to go back and watch it again. Was multiverse. What's the guy's name? Strange, Doctor Strange, in the multiverse of madness. And I have to tell you, I wasn't even a little bit impressed. Other than Hayley Atwell as, actually, this is a spoiler, I shouldn't say anything about that. Other than Hayley Atwell's roll, which I quite liked, because she's a hottie. Ow. There we go, that's better. Coming out better. And we'll clean over here as well. But they're the two main danger zones on these boards when you're working on them. This region here and this region here. I should just check to see if any of the bird seed has come off from the back. I have to heed my own recommendations when I'm trying to guide people through finding a fault on a board that's been recapped. Why doesn't this thing work after being recapped? One of the recommendations I always make is to have a look on the back and see if any of the bird seed has been knocked off. I had one board, it was a guy had bought it from Mr. Polka Dots, and he was having trouble with it, and he posted a photo of it on Facebook, and I was like, you're missing a cap right up here. Okay. Okay. Lost a few of our little metal grounding things, but we still have one here. How are you going to ultrasonically clean the ultrasonic cleaner board? That's a good question. Well, there is only one solution. You need 2 ultrasonic cleaners. Simple as that. Oh, Jack, did you fix it, did you? Okay, we've just dried all that stuff, that cleaning stuff up. What is that? What is that? Oh, I know what that is. And we'll try it again now. And if it still doesn't work, I'll probably have to move on to something else, because I'm not going to do anything else to it till it's ultrasonically cleaned. There's just no point. I've had way too many of these boards just come alive after ultrasonic cleaning. It just makes no sense to do any further diagnostics until it's been cleaned. That's the truth. Okay, board's in. Great. Just how great? Super great. I've been working very hard to try and get as many of the boards that I have here done at the moment, because people are threatening to send me even more. But at the same time, I have to choose different things when I do these live streams, because at the moment, main thing I have are classics, just Mac Classic after Mac Classic after Mac Classic after Mac Classic. So rather than just streaming classics constantly, I am having to try and mix it up. What's happened now? What's happened now? What? That's not side view. hang on a sec. What? What's happened? Yeah? Why am I even seeing this? Something's broken. Source. Camera. That's better. Stupid thing. I don't know. What? I must have pressed something on the keyboard. Apple S or something? Maybe. Okay, anyhow, side view. Here we go. Powered on. Gonna press the power button. What did I tell you? A little bit of cleaning goes a long, long way with the Mac Classic. Got ourselves a little growing light here. And there we go. Ta-da! We'll get, in a minute, we'll get a little questioning marky thing. We've got our cursor here. Generally, once you've got to the point you've got the cursor, you're pretty safe on these guys. There we go. Now we've got a flashing question mark. So, yeah, all's well that ends well. I'm pretty pleased about that. So I've got a few things I need to sort out. First of all, this is an analog board that I have recapped, but is buzzing. I've got to find out where the buzzing has come from and then fix it. I've got to clean my analog board for my Color Classic because it's in a terrible state. And I've got to clean this board. So all in all, pretty good. That's worked out pretty well. So this one is working. Joyous, joyous occasion. So he's going to go over here onto the ultrasonic pile. Ultrasonic's not even warm at the moment. Okay. Right, now, I've got a little bit of time left, not a whole lot, but in this little bit of time that I have, I'm going to start work on... Biff, snitch, kick, snid. There we go. Sell all my stuff cheap and quit the hobby. Yeah, well, bargains are still there to be had. I know that because of what I am holding in my hand. The most important thing really is to just get into these community groups because most people, I had someone contact me just the other day saying he's got a Macintosh Plus for sale with an external floppy drive, I think, keyboard, mouse, and he's like, you know, I want to sell it. And it's like, well, I can tell if you're up for top dollar, you whack it up on eBay, and you know, in this country, you probably get $800 for it. But he's said, no, look, that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to get ripped off, but I want to sell it to a reasonable, I want to sell it to a collector for a reasonable amount of money. So it's like, yeah, okay, no worries. That's good on you. So what we have here is, I mentioned this earlier on in the stream. We're going to go here to top view. This is a Macintosh LC. LC standing for low cost. There we have it there. This was available in a dual floppy configuration or a floppy and hard drive. Obviously this one is a floppy and hard drive because this is blocked off. I mentioned earlier that what I'm actually thinking about doing with this one is taking that cover out, putting 2 floppy drives in here, and then putting a blue SCSI in here as well. Blue SCSI is small enough that I can just slot it in somewhere. Hard disk drive spins, sync to screen, no post, PSU dead, battery removed. How about that? So we may not get this finished, but we'll certainly get started on it. I've got old hard disk 40. So what I'm thinking is I get a second floppy drive in here, connected up to this, the floppy connector there, and then I could just sit the blue SCSI. God, you could probably just sit it here, maybe. Yeah. Right, so. LC stood for lovely computer. Well, it does today. How about that? I don't know if I've ever pulled one of these apart before. These aren't as brittle as the later ones. This looks like... Oh, okay. There we go. That was easy. Easy when you know. It's kind of cool, that. It's one thing that I do hate, though. I hate that you need this to test the sound. That's a real pain. Real pain. Real pain. Come on. I wonder if the power supply really is dead. Because this guy, I got a few computers from, and he had another one where he said the power supply is dead, and the power supply wasn't dead. It's an Aztec. The Aztecs aren't usually too bad from memory. It's the TDK ones that were the problem power supplies, I think. So I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but Aztec. See, we'll get that there as well. Beep, 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 beep. All right. A few caps on this one, not as bad as the LC2. The LC2's got the worst number of caps. This one here is probably a close second, I suppose. LC3 is not bad at all. That's a pretty easy one. Adam's off. Okay, see you later, Adam. External blue fuzzy. Could do that. Could do that as well. Okay, so this is one of two computers that had a 68020 CPU in them, made by Apple. The other, of course, being the original Macintosh 2, the very first of the modular Macs that Apple made. Modular meaning that you could put expansion cards and stuff like that. And to be honest, the original Mac 2 case, that thing is just made for expansion. There's so much room in it. You can stick in 2 floppy drives and a full-size Bigfoot 5¼ hard drive. But you can stick in 2 hard drives and a floppy drive, or 3 hard drives, or whatever. Got that nice big power supply, and I think it's 6 U-bus ports, 8 RAM slots. It's all about the spansion. This one here, I can see lots of smearage. I don't know if I can get the light catching it. Just try around here. Can you see how smeary that is? Smear. That's smeary because we have leaky capacitors. Okay, let's go to scope view. Let's see if we can do this in 40 minutes, because I've got to finish in 40 minutes. Going to try and sleep now. Okay, no worries. Thank you for joining me, Kai. Your company is always enjoyed. So I hope you sleep well. Wow, look at all this smidge. That swim chip is just swimming in capacitor leakage. See what I did there? You saw that. What do we got? 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 I need to find some of this. Have I tried populating the extra? No, I haven't. Wonder what had happened. Yeah, just stick them on there. Do you end up with twice the base RAM? Maybe. I should try it, shouldn't I? That's what I should do, because that's, this is me. This is the Brankus channel. Bye, cat. Whee! She's a blower. Just remind me, what is the base RAM on this one? Is it 1 megabyte or is it 2 megabytes? And this is a computer that will not run without a VRAM this minute. It has no onboard VRAM whatsoever. We had another popper. So today is the day of poppers. Hot. Wow, look at this cat. He's had a bit of a hit. So what do people think? The LC, is it a good collectible machine? Is it one that, you know, people want in their collections? Just curious, because I mean, I know it was a budget computer, but it did also, it was a lot of people's first Mac, because it was the first time colour Mac was in the budget for a lot of people. This one's going to blow, I reckon. Nope, didn't. My lucky day. Okay, that, I believe, is all the caps removed. 2 megabyte on LC board, max of 10 megabyte with 8 megabytes in. Yeah, not worth it. Get the LC 475 or better. LCs are good for school related nostalgia. Lots of classrooms and educators own them. Yeah, I would agree. If we want to talk about, you know, sort of use, practical use, if you're in particular if looking at games, you'll definitely be able to play a lot more games on a 475 or 605 than you can on a on an original LC. Yeah, there's still plenty of games you can play on this. You get a good go of Lemmings going on this. Bit of Warcraft, no, Warlords, not Warcraft. The original Warcraft will run on an 030, I think, the first one. Might even run an 02. I've never tried. You need a CD-ROM drive or you need the disk image. It looks for the CD when you run it. But and I'm not sure what I think it needs System 7. Fair bit of scunge here. I think I need a few more Rossmans of flux. I believe you can even play Civilization 1 on an LC as well. It's another one of those computers that I think I really would have loved to have owned when they came out. We had a Classic, a Mac Classic. So we started off with an Apple IIe, and then went to a Macintosh Classic. The Classic, we upgraded it with the Warp 030, so it was a pretty zippy Classic. Just trying to remember what the next computer was. My folks, because we're talking about my parents basically at this stage, not me. My first computer, I think I got a hand-me-down Mac Plus, but my first serious computer that I bought was a Mac 2. I bought second-hand in 1992. That's 30 years ago. I paid $3,500 for it. Move the resistors on 475. Yeah. So that was yours, was it? That I did that for? I was watching that video just the other day. Because someone said to me, hey, can you do that? And I'm like, I think I've done that before. And I went and had a look and went, yeah, I've got a video on it. So yeah, I've definitely done it before. Don't remember, but I did it. In a live stream, yeah, I know the one. And if anyone ever happens to go back and search, because it's like this person said to me, oh, you know, can you increase the clock speed of my LC475? So I'm like, yeah, let me just Google search that. Increasing the clock speed, you know, overclocking an LC475. What comes up? Very first search Google result is my video. Oh shit, I have done it. That was fun. So I started watching the video, and there's no audio for the first 2 minutes because I had something wrong with my microphone. It was back when I used to use OBS, and OBS always was a bit of a kind of balancing act when it came to, you know, working with it. I'm using now Ecamm Live, and I find this to be a pretty good fit for me. What's happening now? Better not play that. Jay has just sent a movie to me. Oh, I'm going to play it. Oh no. No, I'm not going to watch that now. 36 people watching. Hello to everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to be continuing here for probably about another half an hour, I would say. Hopefully that will be enough time to get this recapped and tested. But I can't really go over time today. I have other commitments. This is the boring part, or the interesting part, depending on who you are, where I basically just go through and make all of these pads like new again, ready for new components to go on. 3 more hours, please. I may actually get a chance to do a stream midweek this week. Last week it was just crazy, and it's still crazy. I've still got masses of work, but it's not quite as crazy. And on days when I'm down here repairing stuff, it's oftentimes you just sort of think, you know what, I may as well just live stream. Okay, so these ones here are pretty good. There aren't very many opportunities for an accidental short when a component goes down, so I don't really need to UV mask this stuff. It's got solder on it to protect it. I do need a recapping guide for this one because it's got so many frigging caps, there's no way I'll remember them all. LC, hello little LC. Oh, this is a terrible guide. I hope I fixed it up on the website. I have one 100 microfarad 6.3 volt, which is just sitting here, right there in C8 position. So I'll put him in first. Wah, 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 wah. A modicum of flux. Now this is going to be one where I'm going to need to get out my conical tip, because I can't get my normal tip into this little tiny gap here, and I do not want to melt that socket. Smashing. So let's just plonk him down there. I'll try and get him as straight as I can. As you can see, if I try and get into there, I'm just going to melt that plastic. So what I'm going to do is get mechanical tip. Oh, setting off fireworks. Isn't it a bit early? First Mac was the 2CX, which bought in 1991, which I paid $4,100. Yeah. I have a 2CX as well. I originally had two 2CIs, but I wanted to have the two of them, the pair. So I traded someone my 2CI for a 2CX. And that was a nice trade. It meant that he had both of them, and then I had both of them. "2CX is broken." No, fix it, fix it, gotta fix it. Yesterday was Canada Day. Ah, see, Canada Day. And what do you celebrate on Canada Day? What does the actual date represent on the Canada historic calendar, if you don't mind me asking? I know that the July 4 is Independence Day in the US, but I don't know what happened on Canada Day. Oh, Canada stuff, yes, of course, just Canada stuff. All right, then we're going to have one microfarad 50 volt. Let's get one of these little chappies. Come on, where are you? There you are. And he goes up here. Oh, poutine, I love poutine. Love it. Actually, I wonder if that might be what I have for dinner tonight. I do my own version of poutine, my own spin on it. I just use like a mozzarella cheese or a Colby or something like that, rather than the curd. Make myself a bit of a gravy. I saved some fat and juices from a chicken I was cooking the other day, which I am going to use to make a gravy. Right, then we're going to move on to some 47 microfarad 16, 5 of them to be exact. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now where are these going? We've got 3 going down the side here. We'll do these ones first. Splidge. Splidge, splidge, splidge. Splidge, splidge. I do the recapping this way. I put all the little sort of the smaller amounts on first, and then I do the, and so basically with this one there are 8 10 microfarad 16 volt. Once I get all of these bigger ones down and whatnot, all the rest I know are all the same cap size, so I don't need a guide anymore. I just plonk them wherever there's a gap. That's got to go around that way. Just a reminder to everyone that the stripe on tantalum caps is on the positive side. The stripe on electrolytic caps is on the negative side. It's done that way because there was some idiot who wanted to confuse us and see if we can make mistakes, and then when we make those mistakes, he's sitting back there laughing. That's why. Have to admit I'm getting a little bit tired of the component shortage. I was hoping to get some more SCSI to SD version 5.5s to sell, and I just spoke to the maker and he's like, nope, no more left. That's it. The 5.5s require a particular PSOC, programmable system on a chip, and that PSOC is unavailable. And no dates given as to when there'll be more. So they can't make them. They can't make SCSI to SD version 5.5 or 5.2. They can, I think, still make the 6. And I still do get quite a lot of people wanting to get the SCSI to SD, even though Blue SCSI is around. And I'll tell you why, and that's because I get a lot of people contacting me who are using them with devices that are not Macs. Amigas, what do you call them? Samplers, and Sonics. And the Blue SCSI doesn't work with all of them. So they come to me saying, I want a SCSI to SD, and of course I have none to sell. It's like, I'm sorry. Okay, we've got a bit of a C9, and we've got a bit of a, was it C4 or something? One there, and one there. That friggin' door, I'm telling you. The SCSI 6 does multiple SCSI ID. Yes, so they all do. SCSI to SD version 5.2, version 5.5, and version 6 all have the ability to have up to 7 devices, I think it is. So that's SCSI ID 0 to 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 7 devices. In theory, you can have 8 devices on a bus, but one of those devices is the controller itself. So your computer, let's say, we'll just call it a computer, is ID 7. It is the 8th device on the chain. Freaking hell, I am going to go bananas with that stupid gate smashing. I really should have dealt with it before I sat down and started doing this. Stephen might put more ID on with 2 GB portions. So what you can actually do, SCSI to SD version 5.1 units only allow you to set up the 4 SCSI IDs per device. Yes, that's right. But the 5.2 allows you to have more. Mind you, you do have to use the latest firmware for it, of course. And you do have to have the latest version of the SCSI to SD utility. Okay, that's done. So yeah, I mean, you got to remember that if you're wanting more than, if you've got an older computer that has a 2 GB partition limit, you can actually have more than 2 GB without having to create a separate SCSI ID. So let's just say, for example, we're talking about Blue SCSI, because a lot of people are familiar with Blue SCSI now using disk images. Well, you can create a disk image that is 4 GB in size, set it to ID 0, and then partition it into two 2 GB partitions. So you can essentially create 2 separate drives on the one computer using the one SCSI ID and the one disk image. So that is something you can do. Right, time for all the little ones. This is, how are we doing for time? Oh, I've got to go fast. We have 8 10 microfarad 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yippee! Right, so let's see if I can do this like a whirlwind. Cool whip. Can't have pie without cool whip. Two and a half hours to go. I'm going out to buy a hat today. My last hat is falling apart. So I need a new hat. And I do need a hat because I have a bald head. And in particular in this weather where it's cold, I need a hat on my head to keep my head warm. Not to mention, it makes me look dashing. Okay, let's cap. I have an LC power supply that I've recapped just recently, and it still doesn't work. When you plug it in, it pulses. It just goes tick, 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 and the fan sort of spins in pulses. And then when you unplug it, it sort of the pulses slow down. So I'm going to have to do more work on that, unfortunately. Sometimes when those power supplies don't work, they just go tick, 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 and that's all you hear is just the sound of the tick, tick, tick. Whereas this one here, it actually pulses. It makes the fan spin a bit and then stop. So the fan's actually moving in pulses. It's probably unusual. Ah, that town in Wales with a very long name, yes. Which I'm not going to attempt to do. I was watching a show the other day and a Welsh guy actually said it on the show. I actually think it's, I could be wrong with this. If there are any Welsh people in the audience that might correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was a bit of a touristy thing. The town didn't actually used to be called that. They just called it that to become a tourist attraction. I could be completely wrong in that, but I think that is the case. Oh, fluff. I moved before the solder had solidified. I have to get this right. It has to look pretty. Can't be having no ugly recapping. Expectations are far too great. People take one look at it and they go, no, that wasn't recapped by Brankus. That's the one. Gok, gok, gok. Just going quiet here because I am trying to get this capped in a hurry so that we can test it before I finish the stream. Piff. Okay, maybe a little bit heavy on with the solder there, but you know. So just going to quickly check to make sure that I got all these stuck on the right places. Bring, 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 bring. That'll do. That's enough checking. Come on. Got people that want to see this thing get tested before I stop. All right. Now, there's a good chance this power supply doesn't work because that's what the guy said. Power supply not working. We'll soon find out. We'll start off. We'll just whip out the power supply. Just like that. And we will grab that, and we'll grab that, and we'll put this here, because we can. Oh, God, that friggin' door. Right, so that's a bit of VRAM. I probably don't even need to put that in there, but, you know. And that sort of needs to sit kind of there like that, with these touching that there like that. And that way we can get some chime. Right. Whew. Noodle. So let's just do this. Well, the power supply works because the fan's spinning. No sound, but the fan is spinning. Okay, so that's good. At least the power supply works. So, next thing I'm going to do is do what I did before and clean up around this sound chip. Now, I didn't bring my screen down here, so if we're going to test this, I have to go back and get the screen. But if I get a chime, I'll be content, and we'll just leave it at that. Toothbrush, there it is. LC needs a battery. LC needs a battery. Oh my goodness. So we will have a battery. I promise you. Okay, let's just get a little bit of that. This afternoon I am planning to pack up a lot of the repairs that I've done. I've got a lot of repairs here that have just been sitting there in plastic bags waiting for me to actually stick them in an envelope and send them back to their owners, because it is so time consuming doing that. I want to see if I can get a little bit of that done this afternoon. Battery. I'm pretty sure this one has some juice in it, but we'll check. How will we check? We'll check with a Kaiweet KM601 multimeter. Yes, we will. Lots and lots of features at a budget price. And whee, there's one there. It's at 24.7 degrees. It's only 16.8 here today. DC voltage. DC voltage. That is, there we go, DC voltage. And we'll put a little bit of negative here and a bit of positive there. Oopsie. Yep, plenty of juice on that one, 3.6 volts. And in goes the battery. And should we put it in the case? Shall we put it in the case? I feel like we should put it in the case. Because the next thing I'm going to do, may not do it here, I want to see if this hard drive works. I want to see if we can actually have a look at someone's old data like that. Not actually looking to snoop into people's private affairs or anything like that, but you know, you're always looking for little control panels or extensions or little utilities that, you know, may have not found their way up onto the Macintosh garden. These just look like ones, I think. Or are they 256s? I think they're ones. A couple of ones. So it'll take us up to 4 whole megabytes. That's plugged in, that's plugged in. Nice. Clickety click. All right, let's plug them in. If we get a chime, we'll consider ourselves lucky. Yes, I know it's not, it's very cold here. I'll get rid of that one now. We've seen enough. And okay, ready for testing. 3, 2, 1. Well, it starts, it doesn't chime. But once again, that is probably just relating to the need for cleaning. So I'm going to clean it. I assume the speaker is all okay. It's not starting up. Well, actually, having said that, that hard drive could be cactus. We'll just check and make sure that we're getting power through. I'm sure we are, but we'll just do it because we will. But I am pretty confident this one here, with just a bit of time in the ultrasonic cleaner, will be fine. I will leave some updates somewhere. $5 volts, 12 volts, we're good. So power's rippling through it. I can feel the CPU getting a little bit warm. So I am pretty confident that with a nice ultrasonic bath, this one will be working beautifully. I'll probably put an update on my either on my Patreon If anyone wants to become a patron, please feel free to do so. Links are in the description. No pressure, but you know. The other place will be on my Brankers page on Facebook. That is one place where I do sometimes put little updates of things that have been happening. Just wanted to, there's something I wanted to try here just very quickly before I close off for the day. There we go, Control Command. Just wanted to press the restart set buttons to see if it chimes, sometimes does. Okay, all right. Ultrasonic clean, then we'll test it, and then I will leave updates for it. But all in all, we've done reasonably well today. We got that Mac Classic, Color Classic working. This one has been recapped, and I am very confident this will work. Just need to give it a good old clean, because there's all this gunk around here, around the swim chip. Just could be a short, could be as simple as that. I mean, there's so much electrolytic fluid around here. Probably should have cleaned that too, but I didn't. So I would like to say my normal things. I'm going to do my normal sign off now. I want to thank everyone here who has joined me today. Thank you for the super chats and super stickers and whatnot. Once again, if you would like to consider becoming a patron, there are links to my Patreon in the description. And I can't make this ending too slick, because then it won't be worthy of Jay getting a little snippet of it and then putting it into our group chat. So it has to be a little bit of a messy sign off. Yes, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for keeping me company. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. I'll be live streaming, hopefully. Might get one in this week, during the week. So yeah, so look out for that. Thanks again, and I shall see you all later. Bye now.